Hey guys, this is Independence with Gamers League. This video is going to be a PvP guide for Holy Paladins in patch 5.4. I am going to be going over the stat priority, reforging, gems and enchants, and talent builds and glyphs that will make your paladin worthy of his or her title. The first part of the video that I would like to start with is the stat priority. There is almost certainly one meta stat priority for Holy Pallies in PvP, and that is intellect over spirit over crit over mastery over haste. Now to make it a long story, let's go in depth about each stat. Intellect is by far the most important stat because it increases the healing done by all spells and actually increases our critical strike chance. It's easily the most beneficial stat. Spirit is a close second for the most important stat because it increases your mana regeneration. Paladin's heals cost a lot of mana, so it's always better to be safe than sorry. RBGs and sometimes arenas can drag out and you don't want to be that healer that runs in. Critical strike is the third most important stat. Paladin's healing system and rotation is based out of our Holy Shock and its crit-based Infusion of Light procs. The more crit, the more fast Divine Lights we can get. Mastery is the fourth most important stat and has lost some of its value since last patch because of the Eternal Flame ticks no longer increasing the Illuminated Healing Shield. It is still beneficial for the static heals, however it is not like it was last patch. Haste is the least important stat for Paladins. It lowers the global cooldown as well as the casting time for many of our spells. Most Paladin spells are instant casts, and the ones that we do cast are buffed by Infusion of Light or are already fast enough. Reforging is the next portion of this guide that I would like to go over. Reforging a Holy Paladin for PvP is one of the simpler classes to reforge for. You want to follow this priority for reforging. Spirit over crit over mastery over haste. On any gear without crit, reforge the weakest stat available from the stat priority list into the crit. On any gear without spirit, you would do the same. For example, if I have a piece of gear with crit and haste, but no spirit, I would reforge the weaker stat, which is haste, into the spirit. A prime example of this is the Grievous Gladiator's ornamented leg plates for the Holy Pally. Gemming and enchanting is the third part of this guide that I wish to go over. Let's start with gemming. Gemming is relatively easy as a Holy Paladin in PvP. Let's start with the meta gem. Get the Tyrannical Primal Diamond. If you are unable to obtain it, the Burning Primal Diamond will do just fine until you can get it. For all of your red sockets, as well as your prismatic sockets, fill them with brilliant primordial rubies because they are just pure intellect, which is our #1 stat. For all of your blue sockets, you should fill them with purified imperial amethysts, because you will get the socket bonus, as well as intellect, as well as our second most important stat, which is spirit. For your yellow sockets, you should fill them with potent vermilion onyxes, because you will benefit from the socket bonus as well as get a slight boost to crit. Once fully gemmed, you should have your Tyrannical or Burning Primal meta, 4 Burning Primordial Rubies unless you are a blacksmith, in which case you'll have 6, 3 Purified Imperial Amethysts, and 3 Potent Vermilion Onyxes. Enchants for a Holy Pally are pretty much cookie cutter and about the same for all Paladins because there are just simply no better enchants than these. For the shoulders, you get the Greater Crane Wing inscription. For the cloak, you get Superior Intellect. For the chest, you may choose either the Glorious Stats or Super Resilience. It's a personal preference there. The bracers, you get Super Intellect. Gloves, you get Greater Haste. Belt, you get the Living Steel Belt Buckle. For the legs, you can choose either the Greater Cerulean Spellthread or the Pearlescent Spellthread. It depends on how your personal situations with mana are at this point. The boots, you get Pandaren Step. The main hand, you can get either Jade Spirit or Spirit of Conquest because they are the same enchant. And for the offhand, you get Major Intellect. If you are an enchanter, you can also get plus 160 intellect to each of your rings, which I highly recommend. Talents and Glyphs is the final topic I will be covering in this guide. Let's start with the talents. As you can see here, these are the talents that I would pick if I were doing Arena or even RBGs on my Holy Paladin. Notice that the level 30 talent is not chosen. This is because I do not have a set choice for this talent. There are so many cases in which you should change this talent because of DR and breakable CC. If you play with dots and no fear, you should use the fear. If you play with something that doesn't DR polymorph, use repentance. And if you play with per se a warlock, you should use the Fist of Justice. This talent is completely up to you and is situational. Another thing is the Holy Avenger. I prefer to have Divine Purpose because Divine Purpose is always up, the whole arena match without a cooldown, and it can cause back-to-back procs. Holy Avenger is a cooldown, and is quite useless whilst on cooldown. Finally, we're going to finish up here with the Glyphs. Due to the fact that minor Glyphs are useless for Holy Paladins, I will only be going over the major Glyphs. There are a few highly recommended Glyphs and a few optional ones based on the comp you are running. Glyph of Flash of Light is recommended because it is our main heal and gives a boost to the healing throughput. Glyph of Beacon of Light is recommended for swapping targets of your beacon whilst healing in an arena or RBG. Glyph of Blessed Life is recommended because it offers a small recovery from being crowd controlled, and I know you guys want more recovery as a Holy Pally. A couple of optional glyphs that you can actually replace these with include Glyph of Divine Protection, for when you fight a melee cleave such as TSG that can train you. Glyph of Protector of the Innocent, because it's quite useful against fighting dot cleaves, as it heals you as well as your teammates. And finally, Glyph of Devotion Aura. I would only pick Glyph of Devotion Aura if there are no casters on my team, such as if I'm running KFC, because that means Aura Mastery will be up more often for myself. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you found this informative. Be sure to check out my channel and subscribe for arena gameplay. Leave some feedback. This is Independence for Gamers League. Have a good one.